Welcome to Wrestling Talk, and today we're going to be talking about what's in that mystery crate that's going to be revealed at Elimination Chamber. We're going to do two categories here. What I think it could be that is not a person and a person. Let's start with the non-people. The first thing I think it could be is maybe a new championship, maybe a trios title, maybe even, who knows, another women tag team champion, another women tag team title, so you have one on Raw and one on SmackDown. And you could build divisions like that. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but I could see WWE, revealing a big title at Elimination Chamber for maybe another PLE in the future, or, maybe it's a championship that will only be defended at a PLE or something exciting. New championship or something. The second thing I could see is like a trophy. Now hear me out. A trophy, not like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but something different that will be defended like a title, almost like the NXT Heritage Cup. Except it will be defended at a PLE yearly. It would be done similarly to how AEW does the Continental Classic, where you'll defend it not at the pay-per-view, but whoever champion will be in the tournament. No, whoever's champion gets a free pass into the final, and the winner of the whole tournament faces the current champion for the title. Something like that would be interesting. Something of that would be very interesting to see. Or maybe it's like, I don't think many people, maybe it's not a person, maybe it's not a trophy, but maybe like a special statue, like WWE made for a Hall of Famer. I know it would be lame for this big reveal for it just to be like a plain normal statue of Hulk Hogan or some Hall of Famer, but it's something to think about. Maybe it's not a person at all. Maybe it's just like a statue, trophy, a championship, something like that. And that's what I think it could be. It could be one of those things. Or perhaps it can be a person. And here's a few options of who I think this person could be. The big one everyone's thinking is Chris Jericho. I think this is highly unlikely, considering that AEW is trying to extend his contract just because he missed time out and they don't want him going to WWE. So I could see maybe Chris Jericho not being the option, but there's definitely might be a person in that crate still. The second one, and I think the most likely one, is going to be The Rock. The Rock comes back in a crate, sets something up for WrestleMania maybe, if he's not even wrestling like he did last year, and maybe he could still find a way to make it exciting. Maybe he's evolving himself in CM Punk versus Roman Reigns in some way. Something like that. The next option of who it could be, and I personally would not like this, is Danhausen. He is an AEW wrestler former AEW wrestler who wore face paint, and I don't even know what his gimmick is. It's just like, it's similar to Mr. Iguana. I kind of want to see, except not. Another thing I think, another person I think it could be, that I don't think many people who would think this, but who would return in a box? Maybe it's Seth Rollins. Maybe it's Seth Rollins and he comes back. Maybe Seth Rollins shipped himself to Raw or SmackDown to return at Elimination Chamber. This would be, predictable, but it wouldn't be as upsetting as The Rock, or if Chris Jericho doesn't return, it's Seth Rollins, he's back. At least we get an exciting moment. The next option, and I think one of the worst possible things anyone could do, is if it ends up being Triple H, which I think is also highly likely, that Triple H just comes out himself of the box and says, haha, gotcha. Like, it would be one of the worst things. It would get a lot of boos. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's where we're headed. It's not going to be this big, exciting thing like we think it's going to be. It's going to be Triple H or The Rock. It's going to be one of those two. I'm predicting it's going to be one of those two. If not them, Seth Rollins. Those are the people I think it's going to be likely to be. But Danhausen is also a magician, so a box wouldn't make sense. So I'm going to say a magician like gimmick, but I'm going to stay with The Rock or Triple H as being the people I think it could be. And I know some people are going to be like, no, we don't want this. Like, I'm not saying I want it either, but it's very likely. Very likely, in my opinion. And, yeah, that is where we're going to end things. Goodbye.